older painter and decorators are being discriminated against in the workplace. I can see it happening. It kind of starts in the early 50s and it gets worse in the late 50s and really bad in the early 60s. Now, I'm 49 now and I can't do what I used to be able to do in my early 20s, but I'm still good at my job and my skills are better. I'm generally producing better stuff. I'm also more reliable because I sort of know what's going on and I can make better decisions and judgments from my experience and my training and working with loads of other people who've taught me things. I'm always learning things. But what I'm finding is that when it comes to building sites especially, a lot of the foremans and people like that, they want the younger people because they can see them as people who can lift bigger weights, work for longer, work faster and work harder. And it's a genuine problem. And I'm finding people in their early 60s who are amazing and are having a hard time getting work. So what's the truth? Well, I know one guy in his late 70s who does a phenomenal amount of work. I mean, he does like 50 hours a week, does so much. I don't know how it's possible. He's just given himself a hernia, but he's had the operation, could have happened if he was younger, and he's back to work again. Absolutely amazing. And I've seen people in their 20s literally, and there's people in their 50s beating them from the point of view of how much work they do. So what's the truth? What's really going on? How can you deal with it? And what's happening? Well, I've personally found that in the domestic work, people really value older workers. Domestic customers value their experience, see them as more reliable. I know for me, at 49, when I'm speaking to a customer, they value it a bit more than when I was much younger. They sort of value my experience. And they don't mind if it takes a bit longer because I'm charging for the job, whether it takes me 5 days or 6 days. They don't really mind. I mean, they don't want me hanging around in their home forever, but they'd rather I do it properly, and they value that. But on a building site, when I'm getting paid effectively by the day, then people want as much as they can. And then actually sometimes they are choosing younger workers. But there's more than that. On average, when I speak to lots of managers, they've said that if they give it to somebody in their 30s, they're often having loads of work thrown at them. And if they've agreed to do a job which takes a month, and halfway through that time somebody offers them more money, they'll just leave that job and go to another one. Whereas they find on average the older workers have more loyalty and will stick around more, and also because they're not offered quite as much work. So how do you deal with this? And I've often found that a lot of painters and decorators in their 50s and 60s go, actually, I don't want to do this so much anymore. And they just sort of get the work in and they delegate it to people and want to build up their own business. They don't want to be on the tools, not a lot of them. So what I found the answer is I do more domestic now. The building site stuff where you've got to paint walls really fast and all the rest of it is much harder. And I love the domestic where they really value the quality of work, they really appreciate it and so on. But what's the truth? I'd love to know your thoughts. What do you find happens as you get older and the difference in younger and older? Of course, these are only averages. You can get somebody in their 20s who's very good, very experienced, very loyal, very reliable, and all the rest of it. But on average, from what I've been saying, is the older worker is more reliable, is more loyal, maybe a bit slower, but on domestic stuff doesn't matter, and it's only an average. But sadly, when it comes to recruitment, it appears to be that people are looking at it in a way that when people get older, they're not as fast and it's harder to get work. And that's a problem. And I'd love to know your thoughts and what you think the answer is. So far for me, it seems to be go for domestic work and charging price per job, so it doesn't matter if you're slow, it doesn't matter. And personally in my business, I've got far more older people than I do younger people because I really value them. They know I value them. I love working with them, huge respect for the experience. And I found the loyalty is unbelievable. So look forward to speaking to you soon. Thank you so much for watching.